My name is Clayborn Benson. I'm the Executive Director at Wisconsin Black Historic Society. We experienced the pandemic at a conference in Chicago on new museums. Everybody seemed to have gotten a cold immediately at the conference, and I found myself also sick, but I didn't think of it as the pandemic. I thought of it as simply a serious cold. But then immediately got my COVID shots, 1 and 2, and then the booster 1 and 2. I was affected by COVID different than most people. Obviously, the sickness and the lung impacted so many people, and you can see that by the numbers of people dying. I was affected by COVID mentally. It just created so much stress on me. And I found myself exploding and being confrontational all the time, and even seeked out medical treatment. Over the course of the last 2 years, our business had to close down. We still had to address the needs of the community, and people are dying. Funeral homes and other churches and such would not take people, and we did. So, we had more funerals and repasses than you can imagine because they didn't have any place else to go. Other than that, of course, our business doors stayed closed. We didn't have drop-ins. For a spurt there, when we thought that the COVID was opening up, people began to travel all over the country and come here as well as go to other museums and such. And we found ourselves being inundated with people. Some of them had COVID. Some of them called me back and said, I just realized that I have COVID and I want you to know that. I wouldn't even be mentioning this if this was just 1 or 2 people. But we had at least 10 people at different times who were traveling around the country in this desire to get out and get free as they envisioned COVID being over and wanted to celebrate life a little bit. Other than that, we have recovered from COVID and opening our doors back up to normal museum business. And people are coming back and addressing their interest in history. Epidemics are going to always occur. From the turn of the century, 1912, 1913 is a great epidemic then. In the 1930s and 1940s, tuberculosis was a horrible disease impacting the lungs, and this is one more of the diseases that impacted our people and the communities, especially congested areas. The first people impacted by tuberculosis is cab drivers and bus drivers and nurses. These are people that come in contact who are service-oriented people who address the needs of the general public in many forms, and yet they are victims of COVID. I don't think I could even pronounce the word COVID when we first started, but it's something I had to learn because it's something I had to protect myself and family from. If I look back on the picture of life and history, you clearly see that COVID or some sort of disease like this will continue to occur. Every 10 years, every 15 years, it's going to be touching our communities, and we should always be mindful and guard ourselves from this disease or diseases like it.